Well, good morning and welcome to the Greencow Show. This is our podcast, and you'll be able to find this in various places. We'll fill you in on all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're thrilled that you're here, and please say hi. And if you're here live, I know that most of you watch the replay, so you can put in the hashtag replay. That would be fantastic. And you can also hit the little heart thingy whenever you hear something that you really like. And
heart, thumbs up, all those things.
And you can share it to people who might find some value in this, and that would be a good thing too. So today we're going to talk a little bit about overcoming challenges and how Miranda did it.
And so since this is our first podcast episode, it might be good for you to introduce us.
Oh.
Just a thought.
I'm Lee, and this is Miranda, and we are doing a new podcast, and this is the first episode, right?
Yeah, this is the first episode of our new podcast. And we're going to be telling stories of how people have overcome barriers to achieve career and business success. And that word success, I think, needs a little definition because, well, what do you see? What is success to you?
Success to me is doing something in life that provides value to other people, that somehow is a light in the world. Certainly we need that. Success doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a big pile of money. That is not that in our culture, in American culture, that seems to be key to success. Mm-hmm. But really it's not. Certainly if you have enough money and resources to live your life as you see fit, there's certainly a lot of minimalists who
having money makes things easier.
Having money is a tool, and so sure. Having enough money to do what it is that you need to do is good. Right. And so nothing wrong with money. It is a measure of your success, but it is not the only measure of your success.
Right.
I see it as, how many people have you helped, and mm-hmm. how many lives have you changed? Those kind of things.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. And I see success. I see it that way. And then I also think there's another component, which to me, success is I'm doing what I want to do with my life. I'm living my life on my own terms. Now, obviously, we can't do everything we want to do all the time. And it's good to have some boundaries and some other people there that are helping us to make right decisions. But in general, I'm living the life that I want to live. I have my values. I'm able to live my values, and I'm doing what I want to do. I'm happy with what I do on a daily basis. I feel like my life has meaning, and I feel like I'm doing what I want to do. So when it comes to money, I also think, money does make things easier, and money can be a measure of your success, but there's not a specific amount there.
No. Different for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, some people, if you don't have a lot, you don't need a lot, you enjoy sitting and writing poetry every day, and you only need $500 a month, then that's it. If you got it, then that's success to me. So for me, it took a long time for me to consider myself successful. Other people would often say, well, you're so successful. And I'd say, I don't feel that way. But to me, what I would say now, why I would say that I consider myself to be successful is because I do live the life that I want to live. I don't have a lot of other people dictating what I do. I'm able to pursue my interests and my, the way that I think I can help other people and prioritize the things that are important to me in my life. And of course, there are lots of challenges, especially since I have 3 kids. I'm a single parent of 3 kids.
It's not just 3 kids. It's 3 relatively small kids.
Well, 2 of them are relatively small, and one of them's a teenager, which is a whole other thing. So,
I also have 3 kids, but they're all grown, and they're wonderful, and I love them very much. One thing I wanted to add to that is I would consider myself a success if I get to the very end and I hear something like, well done, good and faithful servant. That would be meaningful to me, even if I hear that before I die.
Well, I think you're awesome.
Well, thank you. But I do want to be a good servant to humanity, and that's important to me.
And you are.
Thank
And
you.
you're a good mentor to me.
Okay.
All right. So just kind of a little bit more of our background. I'm a career coach. I help people to find and get jobs and sometimes start businesses that they love and do things that they love. And that's my main focus. I'm a certified professional resume writer, and I do a lot of things in that area. In my former life, I was a college professor. I'm still a poet and a creative writer. So I taught writing, and I'm still a poet and a creative writer. I'm a single mom of 3 kids. And they're all three, they're 3 like pretty involved kids. They're all in some aspect of the performing arts, and 2 of them have some special needs. So it's a tornado in my house. I was just thinking that this morning. I was like, I guess I just have to be okay with the fact that I'm living in a tornado right now, and I'm going to prioritize the things that are important and just let the tornado go ahead and be okay. The tornado can be okay over there.
Well, I don't live in a tornado, fortunately. Well, of course, I'm in a different stage of life, and for me, having children who are on their own, doing their thing, doing well at it, is super meaningful. And I know that at some point in time you'll get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
My background in school includes a master's degree in business, and but more importantly, I think I've been an entrepreneur my entire adult life. I haven't had a job since I was a teenager. So
I haven't really either. I mean, I was a college professor. That was kind of a part-time thing. I had a business as well. I started my first business in college. I have a master's in English, and before that, I got a variety of degrees and other things. I liked school a lot.
Yeah. I didn't like school at all growing up. I grew up in a difficult environment and just barely got through high school. And then I moved to Colorado, and when I came back here, I really enjoyed school. So I'm perfectly okay with people who take a break between high school and college. It's not for everybody right away. And in fact, it's not for everybody ever.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And even as a former college professor, I would say that I did not take a break, but it took me 9 years to finish my master's. So I not because I had a 4.0. I really enjoyed it. I did a lot of exploring during that time. I also paid my own way through my master's. So I would take short breaks until I can make enough money to pay for my next class. And
I also paid my way through school. So it took me a long time, but that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm also, I have been ever since I can remember, fortunate to take lots and lots of adventures and lots of different places. I've been around most of this country and several others, and I really appreciate my time in adventures. I still have the sailboat, and I love to take people out on Lake Michigan. So if that's something that you might be interested in, please let me know.
Well, we haven't told everybody where we're located. So we're in Northwest Indiana, which is just outside of Chicago. But
Right.
all our fans and our fan group know this, and we're trying to build some community here. But we also have people that follow us from a variety of places. So in speaking of your sailboat, I was going through work this morning from the week for the kids at school, and William had this self-portrait he had to do, and he drew himself on a boat with a life jacket.
Wow.
I was like, you even got the life jacket. So I'm pretty sure you inspired a little bit of that.
That's
William's
good.
in kindergarten.
And he has been at the helm of the sailboat.
He threatened to jump off of it. So he thought that would be fun. Yeah. But yeah, I have I would say a lot of people tell me that I do a lot of adventurous things with my kids. I don't know that I do the same types of things that you do, but we do a lot of stuff in the performing arts. Is kind of more of our area. And
I was talking to somebody. Oh, it was Sandy. I was talking to Sandy, and somehow we got on the subject of adventure. And as it turns out, I could legally fly an airplane before I could legally drive a car.
Nice.
So that was kind of interesting.
That's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today, our goal for our podcast here is we want to share stories of people who have overcome barriers to career and business success. And we already talked a little bit about how success is relative. We're going to start with our 2 first episodes about our own stories, and then we're going to share the stories of other people. We are doing our podcast. We try to do it on Mondays at 9 a.m. live. And we do have a live stream that you can follow if you would like to. We also are producing this on a variety of podcast platforms, so you can listen at your leisure. And then on Wednesdays and Fridays, we go live more with a community discussion in our Facebook group. So and we're also putting together some Zoom meetings. So if you want to connect and talk about how to overcome your barriers, if you want to share barriers that you've overcome, then that's a way to do it. We are putting together a nonprofit organization, and that's our goal, is to continue to have these programs and share stories that help.
Good morning, KJ, and happy birthday to you.
Yeah, it's KJ's birthday. Happy birthday. But we are, if you would like to get involved in that way, you can do that. You can find us at greencowshow.com. That's right.
Yes.
Greencowshow.com. And also there are links in our description to how you can get in touch with us. So
that's great. Okay, well, let's get right at it here.
Yeah.
We're talking about the obstacles or how you overcame obstacles in your businesses.
So today we're talking about my story and how I overcame obstacles to start my business. And when I think about it, I've identified 3 primary obstacles that I had to overcome. One was financial challenges, because unlike a lot of people who have extra money sitting around, I never did. I had to start. I always had a lot of support. I mean, I had a lot of people that were supporting and helping me throughout my life. But I didn't, I had friends that I graduated with who had property all over the United States before they even graduated high school. That wasn't me. I always had to work. I kind of lived paycheck to paycheck. In most cases, I've been working since I was 16, 15. Well, actually, middle school, I was babysitting, but
I started working when I was 9.
I think I was 11. Well, I started teaching actually in the 6th grade. So in the 6th grade is when I started tutoring. That was, interestingly.
Yeah.
So I think it was 10.
Right, I was in 5th grade.
But
I was working for my dad. That doesn't really count, but it was work, and I got paid. So
and I was babysitting in middle school, and then I worked at McDonald's, and I worked at fast food in high school, and then when I was in college, that's actually one of the reasons that how I started doing what I do, is because I was always the person that wanted to work more. So when I was in high school, most of the other high schoolers would only work 3 hours a day. And I was closing the fast food place when I was in high school. That may or may not have been legal. So I'm not going to tell you where I worked. Okay. But when I was in college, I had 3 or 4 different jobs at once. I was always I was a teacher. I was a tutor. So even when I was in college, I was a note taker. I was a tutor. I worked in a language lab. I did a lot of that kind of stuff. I was always a writer. So I worked in the college newspaper. I actually worked for the newspaper of the town that I went to college in, as well as a correspondent. And, I did a lot of that. And then I also had an early morning and nighttime job at the cafeteria at the college. So,
So money wasn't something that came easily at the beginning. You didn't have a pile of money to start.
I didn't have a pile of money to start my business. And at the same time, though, I think one of the things that helped lead me to overcome that was because I was always looking for different opportunities, and I would take them, and I would work a lot harder than a lot of people in, college. I would take a lot of opportunities. I would do a lot of things. I was interested in checking out a lot of things. So I actually started freelancing when I was in college. I started freelance writing. And at that time, you could do a lot of freelance writing, make a lot of money. And it wasn't super hard to make a lot of money in freelance writing, because this is right around 07, 08, where, content marketing had first kind of taken off. So if you had an idea how to do like SEO writing, you could make a decent amount of money. So I actually started my first business when I was in college as a freelance writer and doing copywriting. So by the time I graduated, I had this freelance work that I was doing. And then I got into, there's a little bit more in between there, but then I got into teaching. I started going to graduate school and I started teaching. And so I always taught part-time, and I had a part-time business that I ran. And eventually I would kind of expand that and hire other copywriters. And then from there, somebody asked me if I could write resumes. And I said, well, yeah, I can write anything. And that's how I got into resume writing. And I found that I really enjoyed it and I was really good at it. And so I pivoted I was still in grad school, which it told you it took me 9 years to graduate grad school or get out of grad school. And I was very thankful for that, actually, because I was still in grad school. So I was able to pivot my studies so that I could focus on personal branding. And that's how I became a career coach. So that's kind of just like the story in a nutshell there.
That's very interesting and completely different than my life path.
Yeah.
Completely different. Yeah.
Does that mean it's like less legitimate or?
No, it doesn't. It means it's different. And that means that there are many different paths to a successful life. Yeah, that's good. So what are some of the other obstacles that you overcame?
Well, if I can talk a little bit about the financial one at first. So one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about that is because a lot of the clients that I work with now, they see the fact that they need to work as an obstacle. And one of the things that my story has helped them to see is that, you can do this as your main thing. Okay. I've always supported myself mostly on income for a business. I did teach, and that I never made as much teaching as I did from my business. And you
almost always have more opportunity with your own business than you do with an employment situation. Now, if you're in the way high levels of a very large organization, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, and for most of us in small business, the opportunity to do something significant on your own is often more available as
sure.
General rule.
And I would say, so a lot of the clients that I work with, they don't see that that's scary to them, that you could kind of.
Everything you haven't done before is scary.
And it is scary. I mean, it definitely, there were challenges. There's ways I would do things differently, but the fact remains that I have been able to support my family pretty much single-handedly on income from my business for a couple of decades. So it is possible, and it's doing something that I like to do. And it's, while I deal with a lot of other challenges, which we'll get into in a minute. And so I think that that's important to say, because a lot of times people who are not happy in their current job situation say, well, I'm going to wait until I'm more stable in this, that, or the other.
This is a great time to insert your 3 things that cause most of your clients to want to leave or think they want to leave.
Oh, like the 4 things
Is
here.
it 4?
4, yeah,
3.
4.
Okay, what are the 4 things?
So the actual work you're doing, the environment that you work with, the people that you work with, and then how much money you make.
Okay, it was the first one that I was overlooking.
Okay.
Yeah, figured that the job is the job.
But those are the things. They're variables those are the 4 main things that determine whether or not you like what you do or you don't like what you do. So sometimes it's the actual work that you do that people are tired of, and they want something new. Sometimes just the environment that they're in. We're seeing a lot of that with remote work and all that. But what I want to say is that I've worked with a lot of clients who say, I'm going to wait, I'm going to be unhappy, and I'm going to wait till this, that, or the other, and then I'm going to start doing my own thing. And I don't think, there's not necessarily anything inherently wrong with that. I do work with a lot of people who want a full-time job to get set up in their full-time job and then, slowly start their business. I work with a lot of people who are already in one business. They want to do something differently. They want to start something new. And so they want to get to, where things are stable here and start there. In general, that's a pretty good thing. But if you're consistently unhappy and it's fear that's keeping you from jumping into doing your own thing, what my story tells a lot of people is that it's possible to do.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good.
So, yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about the money side?
I don't know. Do you think there's anything else I should say about it?
Only that you had resources. You didn't have a pile of money. And for most people who start businesses, having some resources somehow, whether you have some equity in something that's of value, or you have relatives who are wealthy, or there's all sorts of resources out there. And so it sounds like you had more resources than you had actually
support. Money. I think the thing that
I would consider that in the same category.
I think I would say, so I was in college when I started my first business. I didn't have kids yet. And I was living at a college, which I was, I had student loans when I was in my bachelor's degree. I never did. Once I graduated from that, I didn't take out anymore. But and I wouldn't have taken them out for that if I could go back and redo that. But at the time, I was living. I was in college. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a lot of actual living expenses. So that was definitely helpful. But I will say I graduated from college in 2008 in May. I went to Europe for a couple of weeks, and then I came back and my daughter was born in July. So I didn't, I had not a lot. And at that point, that's when I had started. So there was I started grad school. I didn't start teaching till a semester in. So there was a lot of time there when I was supporting myself just with the business, and I had a newborn. So, there was that benefit, but there wasn't a whole lot of time when I didn't have other responsibilities.
Okay. So you mentioned 3 things today. What are the others? Yeah.
So the other would be family responsibilities, which are
that's
my kids.
Typical for a lot of small business owners. Family is good, bad. Otherwise, it's challenging sometimes. And for you, it certainly has been challenging. But I'm sure there are moments of rewarding times as well.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I want to say about that is that my kids have demanded a lot of my time. Or I guess demanded isn't the right word.
That sounds like
it sounds like negative. But I mean, my kids have had more challenges than some other kids, and less than others.
That's right.
But there've been some significant challenges. So my kids have had issues with, learning and school things, mental health issues, and we've had to do a lot of that takes time. So, my kids go to various therapies. They're in tutoring programs, a lot of stuff that I need to do a lot of hands-on work with them. My kids have also had to see a variety of specialists all over the place. So I have to drive a lot to get them to X, Y, and Z because of all of this. And so that's been it's been more challenging, I would say, than some other situations, because I've either had to or I've chosen to take a more hands-on role. I mean, in talking to a lot of other teachers who teach at the like elementary, middle school level, I've realized that potentially my children's needs are not necessarily exceptional. I've just taken the initiative to do something about it.
Okay.
Where it seems
That's
like
fair.
maybe sometimes other parents are more hands off on that, but I don't know really.
Everybody's different. So yeah. I see that you have chosen to make some decisions that require more of your time.
They do require a lot of my time. So that's been something that I've had to overcome. And through that, I've learned a lot about like prioritizing, scheduling, doing the best I can to be flexible. I don't know. What else do you think I should say about that?
There's some tools that you've used. You worked with Mark on some of your financial stuff. Let's see, you worked on, who was it that helped you with your organizational skills? Monique, right? She's a sponsor of ours, and we're certainly thankful for her and for all of our sponsors, actually. So, but yeah, she helped you with your organization. Mark helped you with some money stuff.
You helped me with everything.
One of my focuses is virtues, and I want to incorporate virtues into my life and everybody else's life. And virtues are just simple things like kindness and caring and all those things. And I feel responsible to spread that kind of stuff in all of my dealings. So that's what you're talking about, I'm assuming.
Well, and also just you've always been my kind of like top level mentor.
Okay.
That's helped to connect me with other people often, but you're sort of the one I run things past because I trust your judgment. Which so like that's been huge to have in my life as well. But that kind of, I guess this discussion sort of segues into the mental health side of
your
things
third category.
That's my third category. So I got to a point where I'd always been fairly like successful from the outside. I guess we go back into that like definition of success. I looked successful. But there was a lot in my life that was a mess. There was like a lot that was going on that was really, really challenging. And I had not dealt with those issues. And I don't want to get too much into that because like there are other people involved and I don't really want to call them out. So
I think one of the points that you're going to make is that you're not alone. There's a lot of people who struggle with mental health issues. I think we all probably have some little piece of that, it could be anxiety. It could be so many different things. But yeah, it's important that we work to maintain our mental health.
Sure. And so for me, I think one of the biggest issue here was that, so I had been doing all this for a long time. I've been teaching, I'd been running a business, but I felt like I kind of wasn't getting anywhere. Like I felt like I was sort of on the treadmill and I felt like I was just barely managing. Like my relationship with my kids wasn't the best. It was a difficult situation. And I felt like there was a lot that was just coming at me. So I chose to get myself out of some challenging relationships. So that was the number one thing. And then I chose to deal with the mental health issues. And so there was a lot of like digging out from that, while it was still, because, I was running the business that was how I supported my family. So I had to do a lot of this like while I was doing that. And it was hard, but it helped. And I'm in a much better place now. But, so I was eventually diagnosed with ADHD and anxiety. ADHD, I kind of figured I'd had for a long time. But then I started working with some people to get like different tools to help with that, like different ways to organize my time, prioritize things, setting alarms, all kinds of things that like when you look at how a brain that has ADHD works, and like what kinds of things you can do to be more successful. That really helped me. And I would never have thought that I had anxiety. I would have never described it that way. I would have described it as stress or overwhelm. I would have never used the word anxiety at all. But once I started being treated for that, it was like night and day. So what I feel is interesting for that, and I know but different people have different opinions on this, and I think, everybody has their own opinion and what you think is valid for you. But one of the things that I will say is that I've done a lot of work on myself, like personal development work in terms of how to manage these issues. But it wasn't until I was medicated for anxiety that I was really able to see progression in that, because those two things together really made a difference for me.
Okay.
Because I think, and again, everybody's different, and there's all kinds of medical testing and all that you can do to see what's actually going on with you. But there were some physical things that were happening for me that were causing anxiety. But just treating that, I don't think would be enough. So I've been doing a lot of personal development work and work on how to be more effective in terms of my reactions and my thinking and my communicating and all of that. And that's been huge. But I saw some improvement before I was medicated, but once I was, and those two things together, it was like, that was a huge life changer for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So.
All right. Well, we've come to the end of our time here. I want to remind you that if you have thoughts or comments, whether you're watching this live or in the replay, send them into the comments section, and we would be happy to help in any way that we can. This is a community of people helping people.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate everyone who's in this community, who's watching now, who's watching the replay. Yeah, most people watch the replay because it's 9:30 in the morning on Monday morning. So, let us know what you're thinking. If you might be on either side of this, you might be doing really well, and maybe you want to help somebody else, or you may be having significant challenges and you need somebody else's help. Either way, you can find that here. And if we have to refer you out to somebody else, we certainly can do that as well.
And if you connect with any of these things that I've been talking about, and you want to talk about them more, that's why we have our community talk back sessions, so that we can do that and we can share our stories and look at other ways that people have overcome all of these obstacles. So
okay.
Yeah.
So next week on Monday, we're going to be talking about my development my challenges and what I overcame to get where I am today. So I hope you'll tune in for that. In addition, we have our Wednesday and Friday meetings. Those are scheduled also at 9 a.m. And I have a Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday session also at 9 a.m.
And I'm supposed to be doing more with lives on career, but we're
working at it. We're getting there. We're getting there. So, right. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Just do something nice for somebody else today. That's one thing that I think we can all do. Do something nice for somebody else. That brightens the world. And that's a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And recognize that you can overcome these challenges. I know for me, I was at a point in my life where I felt like everything was going wrong.
Before we sign off, go ahead, finish what you were saying. And I want to post this.
Lee doesn't ever interrupt people.
Never. I used the superlative there too.
So I was at a time in my life at one point where I felt like everything was wrong. And I didn't know how in the world I would start to address all of these issues. And it felt very overwhelming. But once you started to make progress on one thing, other things looked a lot more possible. Once I started to make a little bit of progress, other things started to seem like maybe I could do this. And I'm still in that situation. Every time I change my goals a little bit and I think, wow, seems like such a big goal. I don't even think that I could make this goal. I don't and then you start to get closer to that and you realize other things don't
And you
look
have
so
been reaching your
scary.
goals in recent history, which is a good thing.
Mostly.
Mostly.
I
Hey,
still
well,
have
that's
to.
something. That counts.
I'm $450 away from my goal still.
That's just your money goal.
That's just my money goal. But I really, for this month.
Okay.
So, all right.
So
We
I
have a
wanted to-
comment here from one of our viewers/listeners.
Yeah.
Yvonne.
Good morning, Yvonne. And Yvonne is a very busy person. She has a job and she has a lot of volunteer work that she does. And she experiences something that so many people these days are experiencing, and that is taking care of elderly parents.
Mhm.
So she writes, "Good morning. Great topic. I myself, I'm going through a lot of these past months. I've been helping out and taking care of my elderly parents. And it's a lot when trying to work and do my volunteer work. She does her volunteer work for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and it's awesome. She does all kinds of things for them. It's going to be challenging this year, but I know I can find a way to do it. God bless."
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I congratulate you, Yvonne, for all the efforts that you're making. That it shows your determination, your persistence, and all those good things. You're a very loving person, and it shows. So thank you for that, Yvonne.
Absolutely. And it's okay to recognize that it's going to be challenging, but I really like how your attitude is that we're going to keep doing it. And if I can share something on this show that we talked about a little bit on the last show, but something that has been really instrumental to me, at least these last few weeks that I've been working through, is learning about acceptance and accepting the situation that you're in and responding to that rather than feeling frustrated, angry, all those other negative emotions that you're in that situation. So when times are really challenging, we just accept that that's what they are. That doesn't mean acceptance doesn't mean what's the other word? Resignation. I just listened to a podcast about this. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. That doesn't mean we're saying, well, it's just life sucks. That's not that. It's just, no, you accept that this is where I am right now. Here I am, and I'm not going to get angry about the fact that I'm here, and I'm not going to say I don't deserve this or that's not fair and all that. And I'm just going to respond to that situation. And my focus is going to be, how do I work around it? Okay, we're here. Here's the situation. Now we need to work around it. Now we need to prioritize and come up with a plan and work around it. The analogy that I found from another podcast and I've been using is being like water, because water encounters a challenge and just goes around it. Water in an obstacle, if you think about a river, there's a big rock in the middle of the river. Water doesn't stop and say, oh my gosh, water just goes around it. And that's how I've been living too. We just go around it. What do we do now? How do I solve this problem? How do I respond to this problem? So Yvonne, it sounds like you're probably going to be doing a lot of that for the next few months. And we do that every day of our lives. We just go around it.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And thank you all for being here. Be the light in the world. Be the source of hope for somebody else. Here in Chicagoland, it's kind of a gray, cool day. It's not cold, though.
No, but we're supposed to get a whole bunch of snow dumped on us. But there's like one person out there right now in the what do you call it? The self-taught meteorology club out there. You follow any of those guys on social media?
No,
it's kind of fun. But there's one guy out there in this area who's saying it might miss us all. And that guy, he has my faith and my trust and my hope right now.
Okay, for the rest of us, we might have to deal with some snow here in Chicago. We certainly out east, they've had more than enough. New York,
I used to like snow before I became a single parent. Now I'm just it makes things so much harder.
It's great for ski slopes.
It's great for kids throwing snowballs at each other at the bus stop, which is really cute and fun until then they get on the bus and they're all wet.
Okay, everybody, we gotta go. Make this a great day and make this a great week. And we will see you again on Wednesday.
Yep.
I'll be
Well, we'll
on
see you
tomorrow.
for the show on Monday, and then if you're going to join us for one of our discussion times, we will see you on Wednesday for that.
Okay.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.